Let's go! Does LSU absolutely need to land a quarterback in the class of 2023? Please comment down below because I need your help on this. How important is it to actually land a quarterback in each and every cycle? So before we continue, and we're going to be doing this a lot more on the channel, right now, name your top 5 quarterbacks to ever play at LSU. Just right off the jump here, give me your top 5. And while you think about it, I want to shout out our friends at Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com. Always supporting the channel. You got to love them. Check it out. Promo code PHL for that DBU watch. And I'm sure you guys have those quarterbacks in your mind right now. We'll get back to that in just a second. The first thing, though, is there is a lot of news that has happened to this quarterback class, including Eli Holstein committing to Alabama, a top 60 quarterback recruit who was once committed to Texas A&M out of the state of Louisiana, and obviously Zachary High School right in LSU's backyard, and Nick Saban once again gets a Louisiana recruit. So how big of a deal is Eli Holstein going to Alabama? Is LSU missing out on the next great quarterback? And at the same time, in the background, you've been seeing highlights of Dante Moore, who has heavily been connected to LSU. He is a 5-star quarterback, top 10 player overall in the class, and obviously we've all seen the photo of him at the LSU spring game with Joe Burrow. So, look, there is a lot for us to break down. Let's start off, though, with the current 2023 class. The first thing here is, this was brought up by one of our best viewers, Danny, and she super chatted this question on our live stream. Why is it that quarterbacks commit so early, and why is it so urgent to go out there and basically get your quarterback? We talked about this and linked on the live stream. Once again, that's why you got to go to the live streams, but we'll discuss it briefly here. 2023 quarterbacks and just quarterback recruits in general commit earlier because, well, they want to be the only quarterback in their class. Very often, quarterback classes just don't consist of 2 players going to the same school. So you want to be the first to commit to deter other quarterbacks from potentially committing, so you can be the guy in that class. That's why a lot of quarterbacks do that. And the second thing, obviously, is quarterbacks want to have a clear mind to get ready for their senior season. But really the first reason is why a lot of quarterbacks do it, especially compared to a lot of other positions that tend to commit a little bit later. And you guys have been seeing in the background how many available quarterbacks are left in the 2023 class. And you can see the slots have filled up pretty fast. But of the uncommitted quarterbacks, Dante Moore, even though he's all the way up in Michigan, is the most likely at this point for LSU to go get of the 5 stars that are currently uncommitted. Boom, I'm looking at you. Yes, you, okay? As many of you know, there is another 5-star quarterback who is heavily interested into LSU. And look, I want to talk about him right now, okay? And the funny thing about it is his name is not Arch Manning. We'll get to Arch in just a second, but I want to talk about this guy because he is really, really impressive, and his name is Jaden Rashada, and this play right here is by far the best play I've seen of any 2023 quarterback, knowing the situation here. So we have 2nd and Jerusalem here. I mean, look, he's got a gazillion yards to pick up, and they are bringing a blitz, and they actually get unblocked A-gap pressure, which is the worst pressure for a quarterback to get. So what does Jaden Rashada do? Well, you know, a lot of young quarterbacks would just bail. It's 2nd and long. We're just going to run for our lives or just throw it away. But what Rashada does is he jukes this guy and steps back up into the pocket. That is just absolutely ridiculous. And now he's got to roll off because his QB spy is coming right down his throat here. He still has heavy pressure. And look at him chunking this football on his off foot to a single digit, number 7 right here. Look at that. Good catch by 7 to catch it at his highest point. And that was just 2nd down, right, to make it 3rd and medium. So this guy is really incredible, and he included LSU in his top 7. He is also a 5-star in the 2023 class. And once again, here is a bomb with a relatively clean pocket to a wide open route right here for a tutty. So that's the thing. Arch Manning is still out there. Rashada is still out there. And as many of you know, we are a big Rickie Collins channel, and he is a 4-star top 200 quarterback, Elite 11 finalist near the Baton Rouge area at Woodlawn High School. I understand, and you guys have seen it on the live streams, there are people close to Rickie Collins that watches the channel. We're trying to get him on the channel, and I'm a big Rickie Collins fan, and I would not mind him being a part of this quarterback class either. So, look, we will get to Arch Manning. I know I get asked about him all the time, but let me share with you some research, right? Does LSU absolutely positively need to land a 2023 quarterback? Let's take a look at what is happening right now in the quarterback room, and also let's take a look at what history tells us about quarterback classes. Let's go. God, look at this. This is also a dime. Goodness. How did Rashada fit that in? Wow. So you guys have seen some really impressive quarterback play from 2 5-stars, and we haven't even talked about Arch Manning. I promise you we'll get to him in just a second, but let's actually answer this question. Does LSU positively absolutely need to land one of these quarterbacks for 2023? And the answer to that is maybe. It honestly just depends on how you view this quarterback room. Now, obviously, the two guys in the middle are more of the short-term option, as Miles Brennan only has a year of eligibility left, and Daniels could stay more than 1 year, but more than likely, this is going to be his only year. The guy to the far right, as many of you know, is a newcomer, Walker Howard. You guys know how much I love him. Top 50 quarterback out of the state of Louisiana. And then to the far left, a man who is not from Louisiana, but has heavy Louisiana ties, is Garrett Nussmeier. So I won't spend too much time on them. We've done a gazillion breakdowns on both of them, including every throw they made in the spring game. If you want to check those out, I will link those down below. But the truth is, as far as landing another 2023 quarterback, it honestly depends how you feel about these two gentlemen. If you believe in either one of these two, you already have 2023, and especially if Walker Howard's going to end up being the guy, 2024 locked up with quarterback play, or at least starters quarterback play. Another point is pretty simple. Even if you think Dante Moore and Jaden Rashada have higher upside than those two guys, well, they wouldn't play in year one anyway. Not many true freshman quarterbacks are ready to play year one. I think they are talented enough to be productive in year one, but even looking at data from Chris Moxley and whoever else, QBR data shows that most quarterbacks, who they are in year two, not year one of their development. Another point, if you really want to go down the road of quarterback play, 2024 is shaping up really nicely for LSU because they have really put the foot on the gas pedal for DJ Lagway, a 5-star dual threat quarterback for that class. So not this class, but the next. Yeah, it's crazy how early they're able to get it. DJ Lagway, only a junior now. He's a 2-sport athlete with heavy baseball aspirations. Obviously, LSU is a really good baseball program, but this guy is really explosive as an athlete and a thrower out of the state of Texas. So 2024, if they get Lagway, that's obviously really, really good. And if you get him to commit, it makes 2023 less important as well. So you see all those different reasons, and here's yet another one. How many homegrown quarterbacks have been successful at LSU anyway? Now, that doesn't mean homegrown quarterbacks as in quarterbacks that you get out of high school into the program. That doesn't mean they can't be successful at LSU. It's just LSU's history has been with the portal. But now we get to the extra little nugget. And if you just happen to be new to this channel, you guys know I always do a little extra research that you can't find anywhere else. So let's do a little bit of trivia because you guys are obviously diehard, smart LSU football fans. I want you to guess how many times since the year 2000 has LSU brought in 0 quarterbacks according to the 247 composite. Like, really think about that. How many empty-handed quarterback classes have there been? Now, think of that answer, and while you do that, I do heavily recommend you guys stop by a live stream. It just is so much fun. Our growing PHL community. We have a really deep running back study coming up. So if that is your thing, please hit the subscribe button. The answer also is kind of confusing. 4-ish. Okay, so the reason why I say ish is because 2018 was the last year LSU did not bring in a high school quarterback commitment, and 247 did not list a quarterback commitment for LSU in 2018. But as many of you know, LSU landed, this guy from the portal, and it wasn't really the portal, it was the transfer market, and Joe Burrow was actually a graduate transfer. So maybe that's why they didn't include Joe Burrow as a transfer in the class. But as many of you know, it didn't take a high school quarterback commitment in 2018. It worked out really well for LSU. More on that in just a second. And you have to go all the way back to 2012, which was the real last year LSU brought in 0 quarterback commitments. But you're going to see a trend here over the next couple of slides. The reason why LSU did not need a quarterback commitment in 2012 is because they hit a home run in 2011, getting Zach Mettenberger as a part of that legendary 2011 class. And as many of you know, Met turned out to be one of the best LSU quarterbacks of all time. The last time LSU brought in 0 quarterbacks was in 2006, right? So why didn't LSU bring in a quarterback in 2006? Well, because in 2005, they landed arguably their most talented quarterback prospect of all time, which was Ryan Perrilloux. Say what you want about Ryan. He helped them win a national championship in 2011, and he would have been a superstar had, everything. We won't get too deep into that, but we all know Ryan Perrilloux was a home run recruit, and he would have been, a future first-round draft selection if, he kept his head on straight. And then you go all the way back to 2004, and that was the last time LSU in the modern era did not bring in a quarterback commitment. Now, really think about this. Who did LSU land in the recruiting class before 2004? They landed this guy, and he actually kind of sort of turned out to be really good, a.k.a. Matt Flynn, who ended up leading LSU to a national championship. But there is a pretty funny twist to it. He wasn't the only quarterback in that class. In fact, he wasn't even the best quarterback in that class. It was this guy right here, future number 1 overall pick, Jamarcus Russell, who was, you could say what you want about his NFL career. He was nothing short of incredible at LSU. The crunch time passes, just everything about him was fantastic. He didn't even get a chance to be coached by Saban, who he was, both of these guys were committed to. Jay Russ and Matt Flynn, both phenomenal quarterbacks. So you see, the years LSU did not land quarterbacks, it turned out to not matter because they killed it in the years before. And that is exactly what LSU did in the years before. Let's just say 2023, they don't land a quarterback at all. Well, they landed 2 top 100 ones in the years before. So LSU actually is probably ahead of schedule. Now, once again, you would prefer, right, to not to land a 2023 elite guy. It's more quarterbacks, the better. But if you are one of those superstitious, heebie-jeebie kind of guys and gals, remember earlier in the video I said name the top 5 LSU quarterbacks of the modern era? Well, we just named them. Jamarcus Russell, Matt Flynn, Zach Mettenberger, and Joe Burrow is probably the solid top 4. Number 5? Well, if Ryan Perrilloux would have stayed, he probably would have been number 2 behind Joe Burrow, if not number 3 or number 4. He would have been one of the 5, right? But really that 5th is probably Danny Etling. But still, the 5th most talented is definitely Ryan Perrilloux. So if this trend continues, let's just say LSU doesn't get a quarterback in 2023, you would feel pretty good about that Walker Howard guy, right? Or, Garrett Nussmeier. But still, once again, that probably is just a coincidence. But maybe it's not. Let's take a look at something else really quickly. Let's take a look at LSU's 2-year records, the year that they did not bring in a quarterback. So in 2004, that was when you weren't guaranteed 13 games, or you weren't guaranteed a 12-game regular season. They went 9-3, and then obviously the next year, that Jay Russ team was really good. They went 11-2. Obviously in 06, no quarterback commitments. The next year, they win a national championship, while at the same time going 23-4 during that 2-year period. Moved to Zach Mettenberger's year when he became the starter. LSU brought in no quarterbacks. 10-3. We probably should have better than that. When you have, Jay Hill, Jarvis, Odell, all those freaky talented guys and met at quarterback, we should have done better, but still 2 10-win seasons. And then, of course, in 2018, when we didn't bring in quarterbacks, one of the more impressive 2-year runs in LSU history. So, more than likely, that's just a coincidence, right? I'm just saying, though, there were a lot of championships mixed in there, and ironically, as a lot of you saw, and if you haven't seen this video just yet, it'll be floating in your face in just a second. I actually do think 2023, which would be next year, which could be the year that LSU doesn't bring in a quarterback, I actually do think 2023 is a championship window for Brian Kelly. Yes, in year 2, but still, let's focus more on the current quarterback room and the 2023 cycle. So, in the background, as promised, I'm giving you some Arch Manning content. This is actually from 2019, so really, really young Arch Manning. And look, he's really special. He really is. Now, is he consensus number 1 overall on every single board special? No, I don't think so. It is kind of weird that every single recruiting ranking site has him as the clear-cut number 1 guy. And I'm going to give you a little extra here. Of the 2023 quarterbacks I've evaluated up to this point, number 1, I've always said this, I like to see the senior film first. And obviously they haven't played their senior years yet. But I do think the Nico kid that committed to Tennessee is the best quarterback in 2023. We'll see what happens there. Now, as far as Arch Manning, though, look, it would be very nice if LSU could bring him in, but it's not looking likely. It looks as if now, since Alabama got Holstein, it's going to be a Georgia-Texas race, maybe Virginia. I know that sounds strange, but there are some family ties there. Could LSU get back into it? Yes, Brian Kelly's done really good as far as, establishing a relationship with Newman High School. He did bring in Bo Bordelon, who was an offensive lineman for Arch Manning at Newman. But still, we'll see. I'm not going to just give LSU a 0% chance here because proximity is something. But still, I just don't see Arch happening. The funny thing about it is Jaden Rashada and Dante Moore are also semi-long shots. In particular, Rashada. There was an LSU visit mixed in there, surprisingly, for Rashada. We'll see what happens. Obviously, his decision is coming up here in about a month or so. And Dante Moore, he is the most likely out of the 5-star uncommitted guys. It's going to be so hard getting him out of the Midwest, knowing his Michigan ties, and also knowing how hard Notre Dame has been coming after him in that Midwest. But obviously, Brian Kelly's a Midwesterner, so I'm not going to count him out for Dante Moore. But still, we'll see. LSU has never brought in an out-of-state 5-star quarterback since Russell Shepard. And, of course, he actually didn't end up playing quarterback. So we'll see. I'm hoping for Dante Moore. I really am. But if that doesn't happen, and I know the Purdue trolls are going to be after me, and look, I'm a Drew Brees fan. Go Purdue. I do think Rickie Collins, if LSU turned up the heat, I do think Rickie Collins could be a part of this class. But as you guys saw at the end, or just, throughout today's video, it is not the be-all, end-all that LSU absolutely needs to get a quarterback in the 2023 cycle. It's just true. I know we feel oftentimes that this kid is a must-get kind of guy, but the truth is there's no such thing as a must-get recruit, especially now with the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, and so many extra variables that are entering college football. We also were given another extra variable when it comes to the college football recruiting game, knowing that you could sign as many players as you want in every single class as long as you stay under that 85 scholarship limit. So, there's so much that's changing in college football recruiting, but as you guys see, quarterback recruiting has stayed mostly the same. Pretty much everyone commits early. So the numbers are dwindling, but don't panic if you are an LSU fan. So comment down below, do you feel LSU absolutely positively needs to land a quarterback in the class of 2023? Some of you feel, and you really do feel this way, that we must get Arch Manning and that you truly do believe he is the next great one in college football. If you do feel that way, if you feel any way about this video, feel free to comment down below. I know this one was a little bit longer, but these quarterback deep dives are always a lot of fun to do, and they cannot be done without your feedback, okay? So please get involved in that comment section, and if you want, drop a Venmo, Cash App, or a super thanks. That obviously helps this channel grow as well. It is Power Hour LSU. Oh yeah, I forgot. There is one stat that proves quarterback success. I'll link that deep dive in the top left. It's kind of old, during the TJ Finley years. And here's the 2024 college football playoff preview piece. And tonight, we're doing enchiladas again. Let's go.